All right. Good evening, afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the HARD Board of Directors Roadshow. We appreciate everybody that has been working from HARD to make this event happen, and also looking forward to our presentation. This is our study session, and all of the board members are here. Director Rosen is excused today. General Manager, anything before we call on our women in data science? Okay. All right, who is kicking off our first item?
Good evening, Honorable Board of Directors. It's my pleasure this evening to introduce the Women in Computing and Data Science from UC Berkeley. They reached out to us in March of this year and asked if we had a project that we'd be interested in having them volunteer to work on. I immediately reached out to Thomas because I really know not a lot about computers other than how to turn it on and do what I need to do. And thanks to Thomas, we came up with a project that they're going to be presenting to you. Right now, I'm going to introduce to you the co-chair of the Women in Computing and Data Science and the foundation, Natalie Cornejo, and she'll take it from there.
Okay, and just one moment before Natalie starts, you can come on up. I apologize that I forgot to do this announcement. So this meeting is being translated, so just a reminder to us all to speak at a moderate pace, enunciate clearly, and speak directly into the microphone. Thank you very much. Natalie.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here. I was co-president for Spring 2026 of Women in Computing and Data Science at UC Berkeley. And we have 3 committees, and one of the committees that we worked with was our projects committee. And today we are presenting our final project that we presented to Steve and Thomas, and now you all, which is the Community Context Indicators in Hayward Parks. And I would love to introduce my team along with the projects committee co-chair, Ananya.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We're excited to present the Community Context Indicators in Hayward Parks, which we developed in collaboration with the HARD Foundation. At its core, this project is about understanding how park resources are distributed across Hayward and how we can make that distribution more equitable. Parks aren't just physical spaces, they shape our community health, access to recreation, and quality of life. Today, we'll walk you through how we approach this problem with data, what we discovered, and how our work can support more informed, equity-focused decision-making.
Okay, so here's a little bit about us. So we are Women in Computing and Data Science. It is a student-led organization at UC Berkeley. We work on applied data science and machine learning projects, such as building models, running analysis, and deploying systems that solve real problems for real communities. And we believe technical skills should serve people, not the other way around.
Our goal was to design a data-driven, equity-informed park scoring framework. So one where staff can see how each park performs, understand what's driving that score, and compare parks across the district. HARD's current system uses pass-fail inspection scores that treat all factors equally and miss usage, community need, and environmental context. We set out to build something more complete. We started by correcting the park universe. Earlier versions of this work were Hayward-centric, but the real HARD district is much larger, so we shifted to the authoritative HARD shapefile and brought the inventory up to all 131 parks. For methodology, we linked each park to its surrounding neighborhood using a 10-minute walkshed, and we'll come back to why that choice matters. We prioritized high-integrity data from ACS and Cal EnviroScreen and dropped sparse indicators that only existed for a subset of parks, which got us to over 90% district-wide coverage.
So we first began by benchmarking hard against the Minneapolis park system, which is nationally recognized for its data-driven approach to park equity. We ran a line-by-line audit to identify where our current data was missing or weak. The key difference being that Minneapolis takes a more holistic approach that folds in demographics, environmental factors, and accessibility, whereas HARD is more focused on asset condition and infrastructure. From there, we turn to the people. Our research considered both residents and decision makers. Residents included youth, seniors, and low income communities who rely more heavily on park access. A central piece was evaluating the 10-minute walkshed as an accessibility standard, which then let us see which parts serve the most at risk residents and where investment would have the highest community impact. Finally, we looked at external factors, which takes into account how other cities approach equity focused park planning and what public data could evaluate neighborhoods around parks. We researched environmental burdens through CalEnviroscreen, which included like pollution levels, asthma rates, urban heat, and vetted repositories, including the US Census Bureau's ACS and ParkServe. The goal was ensuring every indicator we selected was both meaningful and statistically reliable.
So for key insights, there were 3 things that stood out. The first was that there was opportunity to further align investment with community demand. The second was that on paper, we looked at successful. The Trust for Public Land reports that 76% of Hayward residents live within a 10-minute walk of a park. That's a great headline, but it's also kind of a thin metric. It measures proximity and not quality, and just because a resident lives 10 minutes from a park doesn't mean that the park is safe, well-lit, or equipped with what the neighborhood actually needs. Access is the baseline, but quality is the goal. And third, Hayward looks relatively high income overall, but city-level averages can hide serious neighborhood-level variations. Communities that are actually underserved gets invisible in the aggregate. So we work with 3 data sources at 3 different geographic levels: the HARD shapefiles for park boundaries, the ACS for demographics at the block group level, and the CalEnviroscreen for environmental burdens at the census tract level. So these don't naturally align, so every decision came down to how we choose to bridge them fairly. So the biggest was the walkshed versus the driveshed. We chose walkshed because they reflect how people actually access neighborhood parks. However, the driveshed does pull in like a much larger, less relevant population and dilute local signals. And the trade-off is that the walkshed don't capture regional parks that draw visitors from further away, and they don't account for barriers like unsafe roads even within the boundary. So future work could layer both to see how access patterns shift at different scales. So to unify everything, we used the walkshed as a spatial bridge. For each park, we did weighted spatial joins measuring how much of each surrounding block group or tract falls within the walkshed. We kept variables separate instead of collapsing them into a composite score, which preserves detail and avoids masking differences between parks that might look similar on the surface, but are actually not. So this led to 2 trade-offs about our method, which is that 12 parks could not be matched due to naming mismatches, and these are issues that can be fixed mechanically. And our aggregation assumes population are evenly distributed within block groups, which smooth over local variation, and indicators should be read as approximations of surrounding context, not precise measurements. And the result is that we concluded that each park isn't just a location, it represents a weighted picture of the community and conditions surrounding it, which is a more accurate view of access and equity than arbitrary neighborhood boundaries would give. So the final product is a single park level data set covering all 131 HARD parks with 17 indicators per park. The diagram on the right, or the left, shows how we built it with the HARD shapefile, the ACS, and also the CalEnviroscreen, all linked it to each park through that 10-minute walkshed. The chart on the right shows that what the data set already reveals. Each dot is a park, income on the x-axis, and housing burden on the y-axis. and then the bubble size is the population served. The correlation is a negative 0.69, which is pretty strong. Parks serving lower income communities face significantly higher housing burden, and those are the parks serving the most people. And we also kept this as transparent indicators rather than a composite score, so HARD staff can see exactly what's driving each park's profile instead of trusting a black box.
So a spreadsheet shows patterns poorly, so we built an interactive map that makes equity visible across the district. It answers 4 questions at a glance. Where is this park? What community surrounds it? What conditions are people living with? How does it compare to others? Park equity isn't just about park attributes, acres, type, amenities. It's about who the park serves and what needs to exist around it. A park in a high-income area and one in a community with high housing burden might look identical in isolation. Connected to community context, the planning conversation becomes real. Users are able to color the map by any indicator: asthma, vulnerability, pollution burden, income, served population, and they're able to filter by park type, search by name, click for details, and rank parks to find the highest or lowest values on any metric. That ranking lets planners move between district-wide patterns and individual park detail. The real value is that it helps HARD move from data collection to planning evidence. For grants, board presentations, and community conversations, the dashboard makes the case concrete, and residents see the same map that staff do and understand why investment might be needed. So here we have a quick demo of our actual dashboard that is a very light web app, and here we're able to color the map by different community fields like pollution burden, and we're able to interactively look through the actual community and select parks and look at important things like pollution burden, housing burden. We're able to rank parks after filtering by a certain type of burden, and look at what parks are really struggling and what parks are doing well, and compare based off of important context. So Ashland Grove is an example park, and it serves about 13,000 people with 85,000 median income and a housing burden of 91. Deerview, also in the same community, serves 1,600 people with 235,000 income and a housing burden of 1. They are in the same district, but they have very different realities. Across all 119 covered parks, income predicts 69% of housing burden variations, 63% of linguistic isolation, and 40% of pollution burden. That disparity between these scores is the whole point of our work. So finally, we have 3 priorities. 1, we need to close our 12 park linkage gap, which is just a naming mismatch, which we just need crosswalks for. Secondly, we need to add park amenity data: canopy, playgrounds, restroom, lighting. We dropped these because the source only covered a subset of HARD parks. A fuller park serve or HARD's internal database would help us conclude what's actually at each park. And finally, we need to integrate condition and maintenance data. HARD collects inspection records, but they're not connected yet. Right now we have context: who lives near parks and what their environment and situation looks like. We don't have condition. That's the missing piece that answers the key question: where are the most vulnerable communities being served by parks, and which are in the worst condition? This is what the board need: specific indicators, not anecdote.
We're so grateful for the partnership with HARD on this project. For our members, this is the kind of applied work we prioritize: real data, real communities, and real planning decisions. Technical choices have downstream impact: dataset selection, aggregation methods, variable specification. These decisions determine what patterns are visible and what gets prioritized in funding conversations. We look forward to continuing collaborations that bridge technical capacity and community. Thank you.
And we wanted to open the floor for any questions.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your work. We'll give you a round of applause. know our general manager has been pushing for a data-driven district, and at our strategic planning session a couple years ago, the board prioritized controlling our narrative, controlling our story, as well as equity across the district. And so I appreciate this collaboration as an opportunity to reach all of those goals. And I will open up to my colleagues for questions or comments. Lou?
So we're getting a report. It's not just this presentation, but we're getting an actual report describing your methodology and your findings.
Yes.
So, and it's more, okay. And I just, because I wish, I'd like to read that, because it's a little bit hard to follow. But yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying is that we're mismatched in some areas, and we need to take, we need to change our policies or adjust our policies to address that. And I don't know if you know the history of the district or things we've done recently to kind of address those issues. I think we're aware of it, and maybe not in a statistical manner, but we're aware of a lot of the problems that you've identified, and we've taken, we think, a lot of action to help address that. And of course, I'm kind of being defensive here, but some of these things have to do with opportunities and availability of funding. And so, but we've addressed in Ashland quite a bit. I don't know if we'll ever get an ideal arrangement there, but we made great strides. Anyway, I'm looking forward to reading it and maybe discussing it with Thomas and going forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have a couple documents of how we actually built the whole project that we did hand over, and when we handed over our final deliverable. And we had another presentation earlier with Thomas and Steve, and I think we went more in depth in the choices we made on the data science side. So all of that is included in the documents we have. Yes, our whole team really appreciated the work that is being done in this district for the parks. I think, well, Steve had us come in and actually grade a park. So I think doing that and actually understanding the whole process was really helpful for us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot to digest, so thanks for the work. I'm all about methodology, and kind of, you mentioned just briefly in the beginning when you compared us to the Minneapolis Park Districts. Could you go just a little bit deeper in that, the reasoning? I mean, you talked about the holistic park versus our park driven by, I'm kind of curious about that.
Yes, of course. So I think that we were looking at the Minneapolis model really included a lot more community indicators, and that was I think the whole point of our project. We wanted to see, look at things like the climate side of it and asthma burden, pollution burden, housing burden, things that went further than income, even though we did have income in there. So I think that was why we chose the Minneapolis model, just to get the community aspect of it. I think we did mention in our presentation we still want to include the maintenance records and inspection records, as that would give us a more comprehensive view. Okay. But our main project was to look at the community aspect of it.
Have you done a project like this or similar to this? I mean, is this an area that you're focusing in regularly, or is this a...
we worked on a few other projects for clubs, but a lot of them are actually more in the startup and a startup field. So we work with a lot of startups, and this was, I think, very helpful for us to look at the community part and actually something that would help the places we live in, because the majority of our members are all from the Bay, grew up here, and we all, like Berkeley, we go to school here. So I think that this was new in that sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, you came up with some great quotes. I mean, I like looks identical in isolation. I mean, it's a great one. But you mentioned that, you mentioned one number and that we were pretty strong. And just it was 0.96 or 0.6069. I mean, you just clarify, when the overall perspective of a district has many variations based on criteria that you're looking at. But when you mentioned that, was that a blanket statement, like, hey, we're a pretty strong district overall, you recall that statement?
I think it was regarding, we plotted two different, I think it was here. We were trying to plot housing burden and housing income to see how our housing burden falls. So I think it makes sense that that lower income communities face the most housing burden. So
Yeah.
that was the score.
Yeah, I mean, as you saw from the uniquity of our district, we have all demographics. I mean,
yes.
in that being this large of a district, it's, I mean, these are challenges, but they're identifiable, I mean, clearly. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to reading further and a lot to digest and your good work and good presentation.
I'd like to see more to the dashboard of, I'm sorry, I wanted to first say thank you very much for doing all this hard work. Did you do most of it from observation, or did you interview people along the way?
I think we
Most.
did talk to a few people, but a lot of it was through research online and then looking at our actual data ourselves, like pulling from ECS and Cal EnviroScreen and then comparing all of that was really helpful. But yeah, I think it would be great if we could talk to more of the actual community. I think that's always important to incorporate.
How about time of day? Did that vary quite a bit?
Sorry, what was that?
Time of day,
Oh, time of day?
In terms of parks usage?
yeah.
Oh, I think we spent majority of our project actually researching. I think that's the most important part of any data science project is the exploratory data analysis. And that makes up for a majority of your project. So,
Thank you.
okay.
You did great.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really, thank you all for being here. This was really nice to present.
Yeah, we certainly always appreciate collaboration and, very excited about where this can go. So wondered, I'm sure there's been some discussion. You've identified some next steps that the model needs, and I'm sure there's been thoughts about how do we use this new tool, and so wondered if anybody could tell the board a little bit about those discussions, kind of what's next. Now, you've done all this great stuff, and
Thank you. Yeah, so this was really born out of a way to tell the story about each park. Initially, one of the ideas was when we have a grant application, a lot of times folks will come and be like, hey, Thomas, can we get some demographic information about the people who live around this park and what we're going to do? So this is the first step of being able to quickly and efficiently be like, okay, as we're getting grant applications, we can quickly click on the park itself, pull up all that data, and be able to write a grant application really quickly. Our next step is this is technically an HTML, so it lives just on this computer and on my computer currently. And so I'm working with IT on how to make it available to all staff internally. And then depending on what the board and others believe, we can then post it externally so that community members can also get access to this. I think once we start adding the park scores as well as some of this other information, it will be helpful for us in kind of thinking about how do we want to think about resource allocation or other ways of really looking at the problems in a more holistic manner, and also being able to back up our decisions using data. So if we come in front of for example, dealing with park impact fees, we can build a really strong narrative about why those fees should go to a certain park and have a really strong kind of data-driven, methodologically kind of sound process for how we make these decisions. So I think this is the initial, I don't have any skill set in this, so this group was really helpful in kind of building the baseline for this and really understanding how we want to do the work. And next, really, we're going to be able to work and add more data sets as we're moving forward. So that's kind of the vision of this work.
I really appreciate that framework, and I appreciate the work of the team in helping to draw out what are the questions that we need to be thinking about those. Do we include this data set or that, and how does that impact the outcome of or what the model puts out? So really appreciate all of the work. And I think this slide is actually and perhaps I'm reading it wrong, so you're welcome to correct me, indicates a really high standard for our district in that the areas with, if I'm reading it right, the areas with the highest housing burden and socioeconomic impact, that's where a lot of our parks are, which is exactly what we wanted. So good job, everybody. And I don't mean that in a condescending way. It's really a data reflection of the values of this district and the hard work everybody's been putting in, including your team. Anything else on this item? All right. Thank you all so much again.
Thank you.
And we have stars for the stellar work. Did you want to say anything, Jim? Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And we'll then move on to our second item. And who's kicking off Tales from the Park side? Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough.
We do have time, and we could spend an hour telling you the same story you heard at San Lorenzo. We've told a lot of times. Maybe you guys are getting a leave, or you're interested in seeing this thing in all of our parks in the district.
So let me ask, is there anybody participating online? Other than obviously a couple of our presenters. Okay, well, why don't I pull back for a second, Jim? Was there anything else you wanted to say about the first item?
I'm trying to get my arms around like this different way of looking at it. I'm not gonna lie. When I took my job, all I was told by the county and the city is that our parks were like crap. So in an effort to make a park like Kennedy or Tennyson and Hayward look like Palomares Hills and Castro Valley, we started grading parks so that we could figure out where to allocate resources. I think it was a great first step. And I know there's other indicators, but I'm just trying to, I know where we were, right? I feel like without any of this data, we knew that we needed to buy property and spend $40 million in the Ashland corridor in the most densely populated, poorest portion of Alameda County. And we did that, and we put $40 million into that neighborhood. And so I think it's probably good to know about the linguistic burdens and the pollution burdens and the asthma, but I'm not gonna lie, I feel like we spent the last 5 years lifting a lot of these parks up, building parks in places where there weren't, understanding that there were huge disparities in that neighborhood. It was built, you know, Lou, you grew up there, it was built without anything by the county, wall-to-wall, high-density housing. So I look forward to further refining it, but I really don't really want to feel like the message of what we've done, even though it's probably not full circle, 8 other data sources. I feel like it's been a lot, and I think we see it from the people we serve and the communities that are using those parks. So, but I appreciate your help. I really do, and I appreciate seeing it in a different lens. I wish I was big as, you know, the Twin Cities and had all their money and their parks and their resources. When I was in San Francisco, basically it was them, New York, and us in park evaluations and grading and park systems rated by the Trust for Public Land. But yeah, I think there's a big level of commitment from community electeds, funding people that has to come with this. And I think in Minneapolis, they've done a great job of embracing that, as they have in, I think Cincinnati's been another really good model there, Des Moines, a lot of places where they've really tried to lift up. But this is great, and I really like the idea that we can go in and maybe grab grant money and make our cases for these neighborhoods that have been underserved or marginalized for years. So I appreciate what you did for us.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, and hopefully we'll see you around the district some more. And look forward to, as this continues to evolve and all the great work that's happening already. So at this point, shall we adjourn until 6:30?
55 minutes. May as
Yes.
well put the slideshow up.
We can move
We can
wherever.
Christy, why don't we just throw it up and we'll go through it and try not to dwell on some of the things that are more known. Otherwise, I mean, we can sit and talk for 55 minutes and eat fruit, and Dwayne can have some more fruit snacks.
How about this time, we'll give the, no, I'm kidding.
Can do it. That would be great. Okay, I don't have anything so I guess I'm gonna just say next slide. All right. Well, this is our standard presentation. As I was working on strategic plan monitoring today, we looked at a lot of the initiatives we've done and the presentations we're doing, and we've been able to get out in the community pretty good. Can't force ourselves down. I'd like to hit the Hayward Unified School District next, because I don't think they've really seen what we're doing, and I think anybody that we give money to ought to have to suffer through this. So, is this it? Okay. There it goes. All right, well, everybody knows we're established in 1944 to serve the communities listed up there. Our board of directors, 5 elected board members, offsetting terms, 4-year terms that offset in even election years. Anybody know any of these guys? Where's that guy? Just kidding. Okay. It's not really. There it goes. Everybody knows we transitioned to by-district elections. Monitoring strategic plan, I believe on August 3rd we'll bring the strategic plan in the study session along with the proposed bond sale presentation that will go to the board for approval before we go out to sell the bonds. 5 different main departments, right? We still kind of lump admin services with finance, IT, and human resources, even though we've split them out director-wise, which I think was a good move. You can see the size and scope. Megan, you were saying something today about the last round of basketball and tennis courts.
With phase 3, we will have refinished every basketball and tennis court within the district.
Ooh, that's pretty big. We think dog parks are still something that we could probably focus on in the future, and unfortunately we're not passing a bond. I hear the plunge looks incredible, but it would be nice to have more than one swimming pool for every 75,000 people in the district. I think the norm is somewhere between 40 and 50,000. Golf course is doing really good right now. Revenue's up like $150,000 this year. It just continues to climb, so people are using it. I think the restaurant is a key factor in why people want to go there and golf. It's good food and good stuff, and I think the driving range is doing better in some events with Top Tracer. Trail system, new signs on the trail system are better, and we continue to work on a few more FEMA repairs there. Oh, there it goes. This is just a map of our amenities. This was a Thomas Slice and Dice map, and now I can't wait to see what the next 7 of these look like after that presentation today. And how you'll be able to go in and beat them up based upon things. I think that a lot of the asthma and pollution neighborhoods and
things that we hear about all the time. It'll be really good to have that data. As you know, we made a map. We have more at the district office if you need them. We've talked about our data-driven decision-making, park evaluation scores that get expanded into community need. Verizon Network Fleet has still proved valuable to us. And we're still using the data from the community survey and needs assessment to drive programming and what we're offering. The core programming models were finished and the cost recovery targets checked against what we were looking for targets of cost recovery, and then what programs are we offering. We have all these programs, we come up with this model, and the good news is that they meshed really well. So it kind of fit. Continuing equity-based programming, I think we were contacted by Hayward Promise Neighborhood for another $100,000 of programs, equity-driven programming, so that was exciting because we can't get enough of that kind of money. Hayward Promise Neighborhood, Edgar. Inclusion group continues to meet. I think they're meeting twice a year now. That was, I think, their decision. A lot of the things we do don't change that rapidly program-wise. They're 6 months done in advance. So Access for All for summer has been remarkable again, right? Okay. We think the biggest news out of our office is we're down to one finalist for the emergency operations admin person. So we should have that person on deck soon to start utilizing all these things and putting it all together into some actual EOC center tabletop exercises, and also just the ability, we're working with the city of Hayward to try to mesh our two emergency action plans, but I think the people that are trying to do that are also trying to do other stuff. So we found someone we think with experience in all those areas, so we're excited to see if we can convince them to come to work for us. Okay, admin services. Sorry, I have to point it at something. Reiki, you want to talk about these slides? Why not? You should be able to do it with your eyes closed.
Well, these slides are for 24-25, and now we are closing our 25-26 books. But the audited numbers when we did close our books was at that time 46.6 million for our general fund, and our major revenues are from taxes and assessments. And rent and concessions, that's the big chunk is recreation, and I think there are new targets that are close to 10 million. And then others are normally little grants that we get. For at least for 24-25 and 25-26, we are within our budgets, and as far as revenue and expenditure is concerned.
I think you need to point it that way. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Okay. And yes, we do have a reserve policy that got updated, currently in 26 again, so which is something that even when it comes to our bonds, it is very highly rated. There are a lot of cities that don't have reserve policies, so that is a big thing for us. And then we keep meeting our reserve policy, and go over that. So that's from strong financial background. That's very good for us. And we are balancing our budget. We don't go over budget. We have long-range plans, so this has the proposed, but then we did do for a 10-year long-range plan as well. It's never rosy when we look 10 years, but whose financial looks good in 10 years? We can only assume so much. And the idea is that as we get closer to the year that we are in, we know where we are trending and we readjust our revenue and expenditures. And we continued keeping our Moody's rating. We will be going back to the rating agencies now for Series C and then see how we hope to keep that rating for our Series C as well. And who wants to take on human?
Ms. Long, I'll take it. You can see the numbers haven't changed a whole lot. I think like we realized when we did our annual retention report, our retention rate's like 103%. I don't know how. But we're retaining most of our employees. The HR has done a great job in hiring our open positions, which are rapidly shrinking. So vacancy savings, which we used for the 3 or 4 months it took us to fill positions, that extra little cushion isn't as high as it was, but it's working. Rangers are still working a little better. We just had the Ranger supervisor resign, so we'll be looking for another Ranger supervisor to work with Michael Main and Jose. See the hourly employees promoted or transferred, we like that. We're trying to build a workforce from within. And we continue to be the largest employer of youth. Continue to develop training. It's been a priority. Supervisors and their ability to get one-on-one coaching with Drew Corbett or Karen McNamara. And just a litany of training through LCW, which you'll see in the strategic plan update. The learning management system in Paycom has allowed us to, you can do like your ICS training now and throw it in there and it all gets tracked through Paycom and all the other trainings people are required to have. And workforce engagement, still Fun Fridays, staff picnics, I think August 22nd, car show. So if you got an old car, bring it on down. Looking forward to that annual event, as well as other events. You can see the pictures from Safety Day and other stuff. Okay, IT is under Natalie too. I think the biggest things that are going on IT right now is taking a big dive into AI and the use of AI in the workplace. And I think there was, last checked, 14 different bills being floated by labor and people in Sacramento about AI in the workplace. Data systems, evaluative data systems. People have, used some of them for screening applicants for jobs and stuff. So trying to get the humanistic part out. Our goal with AI is it's a resource, but it's not an end all to use. We don't want or expect reports generated by AI turned in. We find all kinds of mistakes and things in them, so it's kind of a fine line, I think, using it as a reference and to find information, but not having it actually try to do our work. The IT recovery and business continuity plan was a big thing that got finished. And migrating services to the cloud, the one thing that's going on right now, there's a bill in Sacramento that wants to tax software purchasing. You've been able to purchase software online through places and they never taxed it. And now they want to tax it all, which for us, $100,000 Microsoft Outlook licenses and stuff could be kind of significant by the time we add it all up. But we're not sure if that's just for cloud-based also, or if it's just for software purchased, because we do a lot of stuff is cloud-based. We don't buy as much software. So that was my conversation with Mr. Gary today. You want to talk about rec? We've seen this video. It's so cute, but I can't watch it again.
Okay, so for our 24-25 numbers, we had nearly 40,000 registrations through our fee classes. We served 5,000 youth during our summer camps, which was a 53% increase since 2019. Additionally, 200,000 plus served through our senior centers, aquatic centers, with 42 special events and much more going on.
That's more drop-in numbers?
Yeah,
Walk-through
the
drop-in?
$200,000 is in addition to the 40,000. So 200,000 is all of the drop-in, non-registration required classes or programs. And then we've had 200,000 fees waived for 50 community partners that utilize our facilities and park rentals as well too.
That's another report we're working on pulling together right now.
Yes. Okay, then Recreation for All. So we've had about a 400% increase in the amount of scholarships awarded. Our Health Equity Initiative, we provided over 1.2 million in free programs since 2022, which came to equal about 1,400 weeks of free summer camp. We started a water safety initiative as well that provided 9,000 free swim lessons to our community. And then also expanding equity in our outdoor education and arts access programs, as well as within our mobile rec and special events too.
Mobile rec continues to be everywhere.
Yes, we were just at downtown Street Fair. We had the Rock Wall at San Lorenzo for the soccer World Cup finale party yesterday. So. We have been investing in youth and teens and really trying to expand these types of programs. So we have a new after-school arts education program at our Weeks Community Center. We started the Play Hard After School Sports League, which was very successful in partnership with HPN, as Jim spoke about earlier. Monthly series of free teen events, and then providing free outdoor education programming as well. In continuing the arts access and expanding all of our art programs at Weeks and Adobe, and looking to continue to expand that at other community centers as well. And looking forward, so we have the remodel that is finishing up at the Hayward Shoreline Interpretive Center. We're continuing to expand adaptive sports programming and finding new ways to be inclusive and bring more participants into those programs. We have opened the challenge course now at Ral Ranch, and so we have our summer camp programs going over there regularly that are really enjoying it and doing lots of team building and trust exercises and activities. We are working on drowning prevention courses at our aquatic centers, at Royal Swim Center, and then Alameda County Agriculture History Center that is opening as well. And we have our summer camps visiting the gardens over there and learning and being interactive. And we will have tours open next weekend, actually, or on August 1st.
The shoreline displays are pretty much done now?
Yes.
We're at the end of that?
Yeah, we are at the end of that, yeah.
Of course. Wait, no, there's too many people in the room. We don't have time.
Regarding the challenge course, can you give more detail how many people use it or how we're programming it? It's great.
Right, yeah, right now it's just being utilized internally for our internal summer camp programs. So utilizing it as like a field trip for them. So our camp, like Camp Create has gone over there all the way from Weeks. They've come up there to do a day trip over there. So it's only internal right now, so I'm not quite sure about numbers that we've provided, but every week since summer camp stuff started for the past 6 weeks, there have been groups over there utilizing it. And then as we move forward, we're looking at ways to expand the offerings and getting it open to other community groups, businesses that want to come utilize it for team building, exercises like that. So
Our timing was tough because it got done in the late fall, and then it was winter. Came back in the spring, but it takes a lot of training, right? We need like these guys to get mountaineering certified, and then they got to train everybody else. So the training took a little while. We wanted to start with kind of smaller internal before we start advertising it to the world to come in and hopefully generate some revenue with it from some corporate and other youth groups. We cannot continue to give everything to everybody. We have the final draft I was looking at today of the positive partnership policy and the forms and the processes. but there's going to end up being some fees for that. We're waiving everything for everybody right now. We're probably going to try to get a little more deliberate about that as we go forward. Dwayne, you want the little thing? I'm going to point it that way. You'll just have to point it towards the podium or something. Maybe it's too far away. Point it to the back. There we go.
Okay, so I'm Dwayne Taylor, Director of Parks and Facilities Maintenance Director. So the first bullet there is data and metrics for efficient resource allocation. We're actually working on this right now. So myself, Thomas, and a consultant are looking at our parks maintenance standards, and we're looking at them, holistically to ensure that any updates that need to be made are made thoughtfully and correctly. We do know there has been changes in the number of parks we have, two, the number of staff we have in the department, and we think that needs to be reflected in our park maintenance standards. And concurrently, we're also working on the park maintenance cost model to help influence, how we manage the parks. And this information is really beneficial as we go into opening new parks, so we have a true cost of operation and ownership. And I think that's something that's been missing, but we're working very quickly to have this rectified. And then as we move down the list with the energy efficient projects, there's been quite a few that have taken place. The lower left picture there is at Mission Hills Golf Course. There was a well installed, so that's definitely helping with our utility costs in that area. We have various lighting upgrades, HVAC. The district office is one of those that's benefited from some enhancements in the HVAC system to make them more efficient. And we also have solar deployments throughout the district. One of the areas that was recently completed was Eden Oliver Sports Park. We had done some work there with Megan's team, and it was very, very beneficial for us. And one thing I mentioned earlier, wells and pumps. As I mentioned, we have one at Mission Hills Golf Course. So those have been, some of the upgrades that our department has been involved with directly or in supporting roles with Megan's capital team. I think this is the way to do it. Did I skip more than one time? Okay. No, keep going. Okay. So safety in the parks is a big thing for us. It's really a team effort here. So we have the park maintenance workers who are in the sites, in the parks on a regular basis, and they're our eyes and ears. And we're also supported by the rangers to do some of the different code enforcement aspects, particularly if there's, dogs off leash, for example. That's a big one for us. And so we're also, working on our CARB reporting, with our fleet. This is a really important thing for us, and we're doing a really good job of staying on top of that. The EV fleet additions, that's something that we're working to, wrap our hands around. It's not as easy as you might think based on having charging capacity for vehicles. We have made progress with some electric grounds equipment, but the fleet is really where we want to make some progress. The charging stations at some of the hard sites, we do have a charging station at Ashland Roots Center, and our graffiti abatement program implementation. This is one that our team has really, really done a good job with trying to address the graffiti as quickly as possible. When we've got everyone on our staff is removing graffiti. So if it's in a park restroom, depending on the size, we've got our custodial staff who is cleaning the park restroom. They'll take a first swing at it. If not, we'll move it on to the sometime the PMWs will take graffiti abatement that's slightly larger, and if that can't be handled, we'll bring in our painters to correct the issue. But that's one. It's a thing, and it's not just exclusive to HARD. It's throughout the Bay Area, throughout the state. But we are definitely working on it, and the team is doing a really good job with addressing it as quickly as possible.
I think you have a question about that.
Yeah, hey Dwayne, was the charging station at the Root Center, was that built by the developer for or was that part of so that was part of their project that we have access to?
I believe it was part of ours, because we're the ones activating it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was built as part of the Madrone Terrace project, but that is our dedicated spot.
Got it.
Yeah.
I just think, with the CARB rules moving forward quickly, and not quickly, kind of depending on the time of month, but partnerships with other agencies, using the stations, are they going to be ours exclusively, or there's like city counties and everybody's going to be needing them and required?
People trying to sneak off on that station.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just becomes a big infrastructure deal, right? Like, do we have the infrastructure? Could we put it in? We don't have the vehicles. We can't find the right size, large vehicles for the fleet, so, we can put them in for the public at our places and stuff, but, I'm not sure how quickly we'll be able to get, like, electric trucks in the yard and the infrastructure we need, so.
Yeah, Jim made a very good point there. Like, there's the advancements in electric vehicles has been really, it's taken off with passenger vehicles. But when we're talking a work truck, the battery capacity just pales in comparison to what you'd see in a passenger vehicle. For example, if you look at a Ford Lightning, which is like a F-150, you're getting maybe 185 miles to a full charge, whereas with the vehicle, you can get a Tesla, can get 350 miles to a full charge. So to Jim's point, you need capacity to constantly keep the battery charged, particularly with how we utilize the vehicles. And then some manufacturers they're just not creating the fleet of electric vehicles changes more frequently. For example, we've been looking for a vehicle for the IT department, and they need more of a Ford Transit Connect size vehicle. But Ford stopped making those in 2023. So the only other option is a larger full-size cargo van, which is similar to an Amazon Sprinter van. And that's just, for our context, it doesn't really match. So we're constantly looking at the fleet vehicle options that are out there, but it's gonna take some time, before we can really settle on one, because it's a huge commitment for us. Let me get back to it here. So, I'll skip down to the FEMA repair and mitigation projects, because this is, there's a couple that we're actively working on and closing out. So there's, Mission Hills Golf Course had a small one that we're about 75% complete. We're actually meeting with the team on Wednesday to finish it off. And then there's the Taper Park and, everything associated with that. And, a couple weeks ago, I went to the board for a CEQA study. And so we're moving on that so we can, get one step closer to making corrections to that area. But overall, I'm really proud of the work that the Parks and Facilities Maintenance team is doing. They're constantly working to keep the district in a safe and clean manner, and the team really does a good job of executing day in and day out, Monday to Sunday. So I'm really, really proud of them and looking forward to all the work we're going to do here in the future. Oh, there we go.
So this is basically a recap of what the board saw at the last study sessions. I'll go quickly. So as you know, the department was created in 2017 to implement the Measure F1 bond program. We have expended about $198 million to date, getting ready to sell the last $40 million of the bond. We've raised over $55 million in grants for new parks and trails. I think somebody with longer arms is going to have to do that. So we've completed over 70 projects. We have about 27 current projects going on. Out of all of our facilities, we have done some sort of improvement to all but 4 of our parks so far. We've added 27.6 acres of new parkland, a lot of which is in Ashland, but also in Hayward. And we will have added 2 new community centers by the time we're done. One is the Ashland Root Center, the other is Bidwell. This is a breakdown of the acquisitions, and you can see different districts, Castro Valley, Hayward, and Ashland, and the distribution throughout the district. We have completed the San Lorenzo Community Center and the Ashland Root Center at Madrone Terrace. And the next community center that will be under construction is Bidwell. We renovated both the Hayward and the Hayward Area Senior Center with a refresh to make them more inviting for our staff and users. We have done the outdoor environmental education improvements at Sulphur Creek Nature Center and are pursuing grants for more improvements within that park. And with the Recreation Department, we helped with the new sea level rise exhibit at the Shoreline Interpretive Center. Also awaiting notification in September about a grant that, for the center itself. We've done finished the Hayward Community Garden, the first phase, which is 70 plots, and also helped the Recreation Department with the Alameda County Agricultural History Center. And the opening for that is next week, I think. In addition to renovating parks, we've increased parks and built new parks. So Ashland Zocalo, Unity Park, Via Toledo. And then on the boards right now is the Laurel Park, Ashland Grove, which the Mateo side has been awarded to Suarez and Munoz, who's also doing East 14th. So that entire Ashland Grove project should be done about a year from now. La Vista Park with the city and Valley View. We've renovated many parks throughout the district. There's a list on the right. Different characters, different scales. We've renovated playgrounds within different parks throughout the district, and each one has kind of a different flavor, so that there's a uniqueness and a sense of identity in each of these parks. And again, we have completed phases 1 and 2 of basketball and tennis court renovations, and embarking on the last phase. Those are listed on the right. And those will be start construction by the end of this year. And tennis and pickleball, we will have renovated all of our tennis courts, but we've also added pickleball at 4 different sites. We've done outdoor fitness courts, so free to the public outdoor fitness courts at various locations. Some are the National Fitness Court, the very distinctive blue ones, and others are more like the little parkours where they're distributed throughout the park. We've done multiple sports facilities, just completed the Canyon Middle School sports fields with Castro Valley Unified School District. Then our first 2 projects was the Mission Hill Driving Range and Oliver Sports Park synthetic turf projects, Sunset Futsal, which was a new programmatic feature for our park. And then in the future, actually currently on the boards right now is El Rancho Verde renovation, and then renovating the soccer fields at both Edendale and Stonebury Elementary Schools. Done restroom renovations as part of park projects so far. And then on the right-hand side, those are the ones that we'll be doing as a bundled project. We have completed mechanical upgrades at both Arroyo Swim Center and Sunset. We are starting to see the end of the road for the Ashland Plunge. It's been, the Hayward Plunge, it's been retiled and plastered and refilled with water. So we're getting closer to wrapping up that project. New paint. ADA access improvements are typically part of every park or facility renovation that we do, but some of these in particular are highlights. We did Sorensdale Park because that's where we serve the disabled community, and we did, as you know, Mia's Dream All Access Playground. As Dwayne was saying, we did the energy efficiency project throughout the district. We did roof replacements as part of that on 11 of our facilities, and then we put solar PV on 14 of our sites. We did irrigation improvements in about 72 different parks throughout our district, and that included putting in new smart controllers, master valves, and flow sensors to save water. And then we've done well and pump renovations at 7 parks. We've expanded our trail system. So Foothill Trail is in progress right now. There's one small portion completed at Foothill and A Street. And then we've also improved the maps and signage for our existing trail system and the Greenbelt Trail system. Partnership project, again, we had Canyon Middle School with Castro Valley Unified School District, and under construction is the new La Vista Park with the City of Hayward. Mike talked to you about the challenge course. And then San Lorenzo Creekway, you know, we have a designer on board already, and we should have the finalized agreement with the county within the next few weeks.
Okay, foundation's no good.
Can I have a quick question about one of the projects?
Yeah, can you go to the, just see what size next one? It's not done, right?
I had a question about the plunge. So have we, because I know it uses a lot of power, have we considered solar, or is it too late to consider solar on the Hayward plunge?
Too late. It's too late. Return, so you could use solar for the electric on a project like that, but the return wouldn't be that great. You'd have to put it on an historic barrel roof, put all the panels. We had a cogenerator there that was heating water, making electricity. It wore out. And I personally believe that with the high efficiency, low NOx type heaters that we're putting in there now, we're going to do just as good as if we tried to generate our own electricity at this point.
Okay.
It wasn't an opportunity based upon the historic barrel roof and all the work it needed, its structural support. So something will have all of it. That's what people do. Okay. Let's take a little break. Good job.
All right, yeah, we are adjourned until 6:30.
Testing.
Okay. Can you,
Okay.
oh,
Does this sound better? We're also adjusting the volume. Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you. Hi, Ladna. We're just testing audio. Can you join in the Spanish channel, Ladna? Yes, we hear you loud and clear. Can you hear us? Yes. Does it sound better now? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. The conversations here are going onto the web and out to Zoom. So you do need to remember to turn on your microphone, and you don't have to put your mouth right onto it. Just speak in your normal tone, and we'll work it out. All right, thank you.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. We are reconvened for our 6:30 general session, and I am calling us officially to order. I'm reminding us to speak slowly or speak at a moderate pace, enunciate, and speak into the microphone, as this evening is being translated into Spanish. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, so please join me if you like. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Oops, sorry. And then we will move on to roll call.
Director Rosen let us know in advance that he could not make it today. Director Andrade.
Here.
Director Hodges.
Here.
Director Hatcher.
Here.
President Lamnon.
I'm here.
Thank you.
And we are all accounted for. Thank you. We did have one closed session item this evening, and the board voted to reject that claim unanimously. Which brings us on to our oral communications and our Volunteer of the Month.
Good evening, Board of Directors. I'm Daniela Kiefer, Senior Recreation Supervisor, and here to present the Volunteer of the Month. And can I ask Kelsey Marshall to come up? First, I'm so happy that Kelsey's here tonight. Kelsey is representing SCA, that's Student Conservation Association, and the award this month is for overall Student Conservation Association. But Kelsey has been with the program from the beginning till now, and so it's just very fitting that he's here to accept the award. SCA has here, and because they've been working with us at the Alameda County Agricultural History Center and have been essential in creating that space to what it is now and what we're doing. When it started, it was basically an empty plot of soil and essentially a blank canvas. And in just like 7 short months, it's been transformed into a beautiful plot of land that tells a story of history and agriculture in the Hayward area. It showcases a native food forest, historic row crops showing the 1800s, and an area highlighting the floral industry, and a section shining a light on the diversity of Hayward and the people of Hayward and the food they eat. SCA support came in the form of many talented and dedicated individuals, and I want to make sure to mention them. First is Kate Cassell, who really helped with design and development when we first transformed that area. We have Samantha Muñez Kelly, who's been a supervisor, coordinator there, also helping. Kelsey, who's been there from the very beginning. Actually, I think Kelsey was with SCA and even started some like demo work there before it became the Agricultural History Center. And Kelsey has even worked at the Japanese Gardens and the Hayward Community Garden. So we had Ayana with us for a little while, and we had student volunteers, 6 of them: Isabel Roas, Brian Wynn, Jesse Cusin, Madeline Almonte Armez, Zahara Ramirez Robles, and Mirami Brontley. So I want to mention all of them. So the work of the demonstration garden began in October 2025 as a plan and educational layout was first designed with Kate's help and expertise. In these short months, a lot of hard work and sweat has gone into the garden. The work continues today, this summer. The students volunteered diligently to plant seeds, flowers, edible produce such as strawberries, asparagus, potatoes, tomatoes, and native plants such as the soap plant, chia, yarrow, and flowers such as gladiolas and much more. So we know everybody's learning about all of this in the Carriage House Museum and then coming over to the demonstration garden and seeing it firsthand. The crew worked regularly, including many Saturdays, to create such a wonderful educational space for our community and our local youth. And a special mention goes to Kelsey for all of his hard work. He's been reliable, hard work, and flexible. So this brand new facility has welcomed the community through tours to the Carriage House and demonstration garden. We've been open for tours, and we've had summer camps out there where kids are learning all of this in first-hand, fun, active way. So today, SCA is the leading provider of hands-on conservation programs engaging participants in protecting parks, marine sanctuaries, cultural sites, and community green spaces. The SCA alumni gain environmental awareness, social responsibility, and leadership skills, and more than 100,000 young people have contributed to conservation through the organization. So we're very fortunate to be working with SCA and have greatly benefited from this partnership, and especially to Kelsey. So thank you so much, Kelsey. And Kelsey, I say it's just so perfect because he is now got a full-time job with the City of San Francisco in the Park and Rec Department. Yeah, so he's going to start that August 1st. So I think hopefully he's going to be with us next week. We have a camp coming, and that will be his last day. So I'm just so happy and pleased that we can recognize him tonight. So he's actually has a little PowerPoint, and you can see how this garden is transformed. So I think our IT department has that all fired up and ready to go. Here we go.
I'll take it. Yeah. Wow. Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you, Daniela, for that wonderful introduction. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be here tonight. And I'm excited to put some photos to all of the words that you just heard because it is a really beautiful space. And like Daniela just mentioned, it's really been transformed over the past 8 months. So if you'd like to begin, I don't know. Yeah. So like Daniela was mentioning, I started in September of 2025 of last year, and this site was basically an empty lot and extremely compacted. So it was pretty difficult to dig a lot of the rows and a lot of the soil up and turn it so that we can create a vibrant and robust soil that would help to cultivate the plants that we needed to grow. So next slide, please. And this is a group of our 6 students, myself along with my co-fellow, Ayana. I should mention that the 2 of us were a part of a larger AmeriCorps program that the SCA is helping to host. It's kind of a convoluted little scheme, but yes. Yeah, so here's an example of them learning to double dig and turning that soil, and they were all really good sports about it, and they helped us bi-monthly, so every other Saturday, because it was during the school year, so obviously they were in school during the weekdays. Yeah, and so they learned a lot of different skills besides just turning soil, but we did pH and soil testing. They helped us to plant trees and to water the trees and to water the plants as well. And beginning in the winter, we planted a lot of strawberries. There are a few different types in our beautiful 2 rows right here, as you can see on the right-hand side. And on the bottom there are some of the plants that are fruiting, and I will say the fruit is delicious. And I'm very fortunate to get to enjoy it. Here we have photos of the students planting some miner's lettuce, as well as some flowers in the pollinator garden on the left-hand side there. And the students really enjoyed the planting. I think that was one of their favorite aspects. They came very excited every week to pop some plants in the ground. And I was very fortunate to also get to lead them on a camping trip. And I think one of my favorite parts was seeing them point out the indigenous and native crops that they had planted in the world. And they were like, Kelsey, is this miner's lettuce? And I was like, yes, that is miner's lettuce. Like, good job. Like, so it was really rewarding to not only help them learn these things, but to see them perpetuate that knowledge to their fellow peers as well. And the space is also a thriving outdoor educational area. So we used a lot of the space to plan what we were going to be planting as well, and not just like getting our hands dirty every week, but really teaching them that, you know, to be successful, you have to plan ahead as well. We can't just pop things in the dirt whenever we want because they might not succeed, you know, in the middle of winter when it's cold or when it's super hot in the summer. So they learned about planning ahead as well as getting their hands dirty. And here's a good photo of the space being utilized for educational purposes, as well as playing Jenga on occasion and making some colorful signs for the garden as well. And as you can see, as we progress, this space gets a little bit more green and abundant, and life starts to perpetuate a bit more from that kind of empty plot of land that we started with. And so it's been really exciting to see the space develop from what it was to where we are. So even from just March was about 5 months into the project, we already had all this abundant life, and the strawberries were starting to grow, and our elderberry in our native food forest was starting to take off as well. And our last day with the crew was in April. They had about a month or so before they actually ended their classes, and because they're all high school students. So our crew ended a little bit earlier than their typical school year. So our last days with them were in April, and here on the right-hand side, they got to learn how to plant asparagus, and on the left, they're learning about different herbs and how to have container gardens and salsa gardens and different varieties of things that you can grow in different types of spaces besides just the ground. And here's a photo of where we are today, or a couple of weeks ago. This is July of this month, this year, and the space has really just bloomed into this phenomenal, beautiful space that the community members walk by and they applaud and they ask questions about. And so not only was it engaging for the students, but it's been really engaging for folks that walk in Meek Park every day and get to see the space transform right before their eyes. And it really is beautiful, and there's tons of flowers and food, and we start many of our own seeds to plant into the garden. And I believe in the left hand, we're gonna be growing the world's largest pumpkin, so stay tuned for that, winning competitions very shortly. And we have some corn and squash and gourds growing on the right, and another angle of the garden on the left. And so to see it be transformed from that space that we started with, which if you want to go to the next slide, I have a comparison on the left, which September to now, the space has really just transformed, and I've been very grateful, and I feel very honored to have been a part of the process, and I definitely couldn't have done it without Maureen behind me, Maureen Burke, recreation specialist, because she definitely has a lot of the knowledge, and I have a lot of the brawn, you know, so learning from her has been an experience as well, and I'm very grateful for everybody that has taught me something here at Hard, and my students, of course, because I definitely learned a lot from them as well. And yeah, so here are some of the metrics. We've planted over 450 native plants, 100 plus 50 non-native and culturally significant ones. We've maintained 56 trees in the front orchard, as well as the orchard that is within the gates of the garden. Over 40,000 square feet has been transformed into a thriving urban greening area, and the weeds pulled have been innumerable, too many to count, but a job that has to be done as well. So thank you very much.
Really phenomenal work. We appreciate all of that, and we have a tradition of doing some photos, so come where, Madam? Okay, so we'll just come in front of the dais and. I know a couple members of the public came in. If you're looking for agendas or speaker cards, they're over there where Ms. Roa is.
Also, if anyone online would like to participate in public comment, please feel free to raise your hand.
So congratulations again to to all of the staff involved, and many, many thanks to the to SEA. Thank you so much for all your work. Congratulations. Yes. Okay. Okay. Great. Yeah, it's really been fantastic to see from early agricultural things that Director Hatcher was bringing and where we are now with the new Agricultural Society. It's great. Okay, great. Okay, so we're just doing some logistics here about public comments, which is the next section. So this public comment time is reserved for items that are not currently on our agenda. Certainly you're welcome to make comments on things that are on our agenda, but that's not this section. So I have one card here, and these are all general for general public comment. Okay, great. Okay, so I'll start with folks inside, and then I'll go to online and kind of go back and forth. So our first speaker is Ms. Lucy Lopez.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm going to try and put my glasses on here so I can try and stay on point, but thank you so much for having me today. On behalf of the Hayward Chamber of Commerce, our board of directors, I'm very honored to be here to thank you all for making not only some of our events, the significant community events here in Hayward, a fruition, but also more importantly for being such an amazing partner during my onboarding, my first 2 years. I just wrapped up my first 2 years here as the president and the CEO. And as I do a lot of reflection, I just know there's certain people and certain advisors and certain strategic partners that I can't do my job without. And HARD continues to be one of those partners, and everyone from the board of directors, the staff, the volunteers, the kids who make the chamber a stronger chamber every day. I want to also thank, just most importantly, the leadership team for your generous investment and your support for the Hayward Street Parties. Your commitment not only makes these events possible, but they make them bigger and they make them better and they make our families and our businesses very happy. Your leadership really exemplifies the civic and the business leadership that continues to strengthen the city of Hayward, and especially those in my immediate circle. I've witnessed firsthand from this side of the table. I've been a resident of the city of, or a resident of Hayward since, I want to say, oh goodness, since I came back, so a long time ago. I would say 25 plus years. But I'm also, my husband, who's been born and raised in Hayward, my father-in-law retired as a HARD employee. A long time, he was head of, I apologize, I can't remember the exact title, but he was head of supervisor. He was the Chris Peterson, the OG Chris Peterson. So I've always had such wonderful experiences as a resident. But being on this side of the table, I just continue to be just blessed and fascinated about the amazing work you all do. Every time Mr. Wheeler gets up and does a presentation about the state of HARD and demonstrates it, I'm leaning forward and just mind blown about all of the work you do, and I'm just cannot believe how quickly you all do it in transforming in the beautification of the city of Hayward. In regards to the downtown street parties, these initially have been traditional beloved community events, but I'd have to say over the last couple years, I continue to get a lot of amazing feedback about how we've transformed them to be more family friendly. And so I've had to pause a few things, but then most importantly, because of your guys' support, you've helped me to reimagine them, as well as to bring more families and to also help bring some other programs to fruition, such as our Biz Kids Marketplace. Because of your support, you're also helping me to launch and evolve programs that are affecting our youth entrepreneurship. So not only does your support help the merchants and the community residents and our restaurateurs, and oh my goodness, that's right, okay, I got 25 seconds, but oh, I'm over 25 seconds, I apologize. Okay, let me back up. But most importantly, you've helped me to evolve the program. So I also just want to give a big thank you to your staff. Your staff, both in the field, have just been amazing and very supportive. They're all very positive and have the can-do attitude. So I just want to say thank you, Mr. Wheeler. Thank you to the entire staff and to the board of directors. Thank you for being such an amazing partner.
Thank you. Really appreciate the partnership with the chamber, and because of the nature of your moments or your comments is why I gave some extra time, but no, absolutely. It's been wonderful to see all of the events grow, and thank you for your compliments to our team. Our next speaker is online.
Please feel free to unmute.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. Good evening, everyone. This is Gary Slate, the CEO of the Castro Valley Eden Area Chamber. Love the traveling board meeting. Sorry I couldn't make it in person today, but I still wanted to take a moment to say thank you to the Hayward Area Recreation and Parks District. Your unwavering commitment to creating safe, welcoming, and vibrant spaces has enriched the lives of generations of families, children, seniors, and community members. Through your dedication to recreation, conservation, and inclusive programs, you have made a lasting impact on the community. Also, the Chamber's events would not be the same without your amazing support. On behalf of all of us, thank you to the staff, volunteers, board members, and supporters whose hard work has made your ongoing success possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gary. It's great to have all the chamber love this evening. And also very glad to be partnering with the Castro Valley Eden Area Chamber as well as the Hayward Chamber. Our next public comment is the Honorable Dennis Waspy.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. It's great to see you all, especially Mr. Wheeler. I just came because, well, to be honest with you, Hatcher asked me to come and say nice things about you, but I was going to do that anyway, and everybody's done that already. So once again, I'd just like to thank you all for being you, thank the staff for being you. This is one of the best-run agencies I've ever been associated with. It's truly amazing, the things that you do. I was driving around today, and I remember everything's come to light every morning of every day of my experiences with HARD. I drove by the high school today, and you know, it wasn't cold, but it was overcast and not pleasant. But I saw kids at the pool, and I remember when I was a kid, like in 6th grade, I would just vanish from my house and go to the Castro Valley High School swim center, and I'd swim all day, except when it was cold days. But I'd go there on cold days. It didn't matter. It was just something to do. I remember going there, and when it was really cold, we'd all go in the shower room and just take showers for like 3 hours. No one cared about hot water in those days or energy bills. It was a lot of fun. I remember day camp every time I go out Redwood Road, out to what they used to call Grass Valley in those days. I went to went to day camp out there. And as I came into this building, I remember some of the toughest experiences in my life. I remember when I retired, I said, geez, I'm going to get old, but I'm not. So I'm going to come here and do a yoga class to stay in great shape. And I remember, I forget Daniela's gone, the woman who taught the class, but she killed me. It was amazing. I never came. I stayed out the whole course, but I said, oh my God, I'm going to wait for that one some other time. But it's great. All great memories of HARD. Oh, and I'd like to congratulate the gentleman from SCA. I just learned last week that and I don't think I'm announcing anything out of school, Max Corton is going to be our new general manager at the East Bay Regional Park District. I am announcing something out of school. August 4th, we'll swear him in. But Max was telling a little bit about himself, and he said he started out with SCA. So I wish that young gentleman was here. Tell him to stick around. He could be the general manager of the regional parks at some point. Anyway, just thank you for all you've done. I encourage you to keep up the great work. Just keep publicizing what you've done with that bond measure. It's incredible. You know, I know the results of the surveys you've done, and at the Park District we've done surveys. I know it was discouraging, but I personally still think you would have got 85% in the election this November. But keep it up. I look forward to a bond measure soon and look forward to other great things you guys do. So thanks for being you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Sure, go ahead.
I just want to thank you, Dennis, for your participation in HARD as a board of director. And you know, you helped lay the groundwork for a lot of the good things we're doing, and I really appreciate your efforts in the community as well. So thanks, Dennis.
Absolutely. For those who don't know, Dennis represents us on the East Bay Regional Park District Board as well as on our foundation. So thank you, Dennis. And our last card, as far as I know, is Claudia McDonough.
I'd love to echo all the positive things that were just said that were wonderful to hear, and I'm glad that you're getting all the good feedback on how much appreciation is felt for our parks, for example. And I spent a lot of time in HARD parks. I just did a hike up Fairmont Ridge to see the whole Bay Area with friends, and I enjoy so many of the HARD parks, including the dog park at San Lorenzo is really wonderful. Even the Old Creek Dog Park, that little one by under the BART tracks is really sweet to visit. The Castro Valley Park is where I spend most of my time in dog parks, and there was new gravel added after I spoke last year about the dust problem there. Gravel was added, but the dust is still terrible, and I know there's sprinklers in the ground, and if they could just be sprinkled a couple times a week before the people get there in the morning, there would be a lot cleaner dogs in Castro Valley. It's really, really a dusty, dusty place without that little bit of rain or irrigation. So I just appreciate the gravel, but I would love to, if the sprinklers could somehow be turned on, it would just make it a, and dog parks are important in a lot of people's lives. It's a real social gathering place too. You know, people spend a lot of time in dog parks these days. So you know they're important, and really appreciate all the parks that I get to visit. My son is a park ranger for East Bay Regional. All my sons have been East Bay Regional lifeguards, and I was a hard lifeguard in high school in the 70s and a swim teacher, and that was a wonderful place to work as a high school student. So I have very good memories of being a swim teacher, working for HARD as one of my first jobs. So thank you all, thank you all, thank you all. It's wonderful to be here tonight. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for all you do in the community and your past work. Appreciate it. And I saw our director taking notes about the dog park, so you were heard. Thank you. All right, any other public comments?
No other public comment online.
Okay, thank you. And seeing none in here, we will move on to our consent calendar. We have 5 items on consent this evening. Are there any that would like to be pulled, or otherwise I'll take a motion for the bulk?
I'll move.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay.
I'll third.
Moved by Director Andrade, seconded by Director Hodges. Seeing no discussion on the item from the public or the board, we will move to the vote.
Director Andrade,
Aye.
Director Hodges,
Aye.
Director Hatcher,
Yes.
President Lamnon,
Aye.
and Director Rosen is absent. Thank you.
All right, those pass unanimously. And that was essentially our business portion. We do have a written communication. Who is covering that?
Good evening, Honorable Board of Directors, Jim Wheeler, General Manager. We got a letter from the Valleywide Recreation and Park District congratulating us for our outstanding new facility award for the Ashland Root Center presented by the California Association of Park and Recreation Districts at their May conference.
Congratulations to the team for that award. Yet another award. It's fantastic. And cheers for the award application writer as well. Okay, that takes us to other business, which is check in with our board for the things that they've been doing out in the community. I will start with Director Hatcher, since you look...
Picking on me lately.
Sorry. You look like you're ready to go.
I'm ready to go, yeah. Quick and easy. I did attend the Alameda County Special Districts Association meeting out in Oakley with our General Manager Wheeler. It was the tour of the Diablo Valley District Carbon Neutral Corporation Yard and the facility of the Iron House Sanitary District. Fascinating. I hadn't been out in Oakley for quite a while, but this relatively small facility handling so much of the sanitation duties there. And so it's, you know, I've been to all of our other facilities in our area, but when you see something that's not so antiquated and so has the capacity to do a lot more, it was really great to see the innovation. We were, myself as the treasurer of the Alameda County Special District Association, and the new president, James Wheeler, as the new president of the Alameda County Special Districts Association. So it's great to have that bestowed upon us. I was gone a week, but I came back in town and I drove right to Unity Park, and I was able to see some of the chalk in the park, and it was magical. It was to see the event put together. Our staff really won a great job. You know, to the rec department and the folks that were out there. They had a slew of professional artists, and you know, I mean, you would take a picture and you want to put it on the wall because it is that powerful. Two things I love are sandcastle contests and the chalk events. And so for our staff to have the innovation to be able to put that in our Unity Park, which in itself is a piece of art. And so just want to give, you know, make sure the rec department kind of passes that all down. And the kids out there doing their drawing in the chalk, it was really a powerful statement. Saw some folks that were publicists that were out there promoting art, and the drone was out there, so looking forward to seeing that pushed out into the community. And then drop down to the San Lorenzo Community Park for the final of the FIFA game to see that park activated. You know, everybody down there with their chairs, all of our staff, you know, with the booths, and it just, you know, I went to all four, and to see, you know, the community engaged and being given the tools of fun, you know, and opportunities that, you know, to have a free event. I also did see it on Channel 4 News. It was mentioned not directly, but an event in San Lorenzo. So well done to the Publicis team and to getting that word out there.
There was also they did a news story on Channel 2, full documentary, called out Hayward, pictures from out there. It was pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that's important. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, and congratulations to you and Director Wheeler on the, General Manager Wheeler on the election and on the publicity. Director Andrade.
I was out of town most of the week, but I was able to go to the Chalk Fest. And it was a really amazing event with lots of people, I think 500 or so. And hats off to Alice, who kind of, I guess you coordinated it. And I don't know, it looks like it's something you can export to other parks as well, so I'm looking forward to see other ones. But you know, thanks, and it was a great event.
Thank you. Director Hodges?
Yeah, on Sunday, I was able to go to for no other, the duck pond. But I think that Omar Rodriguez will love the Sunday event and all the people there. I thought I was going to get a trophy or something, but I didn't.
You got a scarf.
Yeah. So,
For coaches, for old coaches? Is that
old coaches.
Coaches never die, they just keep rolling on, right?
Yep.
Excellent. Yeah, so I also participated in both of those events a little bit, and it was just dynamic community expression, you know, people having a good time, expressing at the chalk event and hanging out together at the soccer field. Really well done. And I also visited the Bedtime Theater the week before, which was also lovely. And so, yeah, great work all around. And the fields out at San Lorenzo were immaculate. Everything was beautiful. Great job. And yeah, so I will turn it over to General Manager Wheeler.
I don't really have a lot to tell you, Honorable Board. We have 3 committee meetings next week. I do not believe we're having program and policy because we're opening you guys are going to cut the ribbon at the Canyon Middle School fields on that Tuesday, but I think there's one every other day through the week. We will be meeting with the bond people to talk about the sale of Series C this week, and then they'll come to you in study session to tell you how they're going to do it, so that I believe on August 17th or 3rd, August 3rd, you'll be approving the allowing us to go forward. Well, that's why. Okay, so it isn't August 3rd. There's a study session where you get to, I know what I'm talking about. There's a study session on the 3rd, but on the 17th, they will come back to you to get authorization to sell those bonds. Okay, I think that's it.
Good evening, Honorable Board of Directors. Mike Mastroni, Recreation Manager. Sounds like you all were at all of our big recent events, so great to hear that there was a good turnout and great feedback. Thank you. Upcoming this week, we have Bedtime Theater again every Wednesday in July at the DMT in the evening. And on Saturday the 25th, we have our Teddy Bear Picnic at Sulphur Creek Nature Center from 11:30 to 1. And then there's also the summer concert series at the Mount Eden Mansion on Sunday from 1 to 5 p.m. this weekend. So, and that's all that I have.
Good evening, board members. I do not have much. We are gearing up for our audit and year-end close. That's what the finance team is busy with.
Good evening.
Director Lamnin, honorable members of the board. This is Dwayne Taylor, Parks and Facilities Maintenance Director. Tonight, I would like to provide an update, two updates really. So the first being San Lorenzo Community Center, specifically the pond. So our team has been working to clean it up a bit. And so one of the things we're doing is we're going to, we've added an herbicide to the cattails, which is the pond weeds. So that will help them degrade, and the company's going to come in and manually extract the cattails. So that's in progress right now, and we're working on that actively. The next thing is at Mission Hills Golf Course, we're doing some cleanup on the site. So one of the things we're doing is we've met with one contractor. We have 2 more to meet with for proposals to paint the golf course, paint the clubhouse and that area. But we're also sending internal team around the course to look at thinning out some of the overgrowth on the site. So some of these are like the bioswales that you might see, reducing some of the limbs over the cart paths. So I'm meeting with a team of our internal staff tomorrow morning, and we're going to review this and get started on it. That's it. Thank you.
No update from Capitol.
Ms. Roa?
Just a reminder, we have a busy week next week. On top of committee meetings, there'll also be the opening of the soccer fields on Tuesday, and then the opening of the Agricultural Center on Thursday at 11:30.
Perhaps a good moment to wear our soccer shirts.
Yes, it would be great if you could wear your very cool soccer jerseys. That would be awesome.
The Spain shirt. All right.
And we're not making any for them, right?
No. That's good. All right. Thank you for those. Seeing no other business, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Ladna and Les. Have a good evening.